A woke storm has erupted on Capitol Hill after the first ever transgender woman was elected to Congress. Sarah McBride is the representative for Delaware and is a biological man. Her election has some in Washington very concerned about the bathrooms that she will be using, to the point that Representative Nancy Mace introduced a bathroom bill to stop biological men for Delaware and is a biological man. Her election has some in Washington very concerned about the bathrooms that she will be using, to the point that Representative Nancy Mace
into women's private spaces. I will stand in the brink and stand in the way of anyone on the radical left who thinks that it's okay for a penis to be in a women's locker room or a bathroom or a changing room. Hell no. I am not going to stand for it. And the speaker said it would be in the House rules package. If it's not, I will be ready with a motion, a privileged motion, to force a vote on this. This is not okay.
Nancy Mace doubled down on this, saying she is protecting the rights of women and girls.
The radical left is calling me an extremist for being a feminist, fighting to protect the rights of women and girls. If being a feminist makes me an extremist or a bigot or a monster, I am totally here for it, because I'm going to fight like hell for every woman and every little girl across this country to protect you and keep you safe.
And she returned to the press to slam the radical left for their attempt to erase women.
Not be in the locker room, should not be in changing rooms, should not be in our restrooms either. And I'm going to be standing in the brink, standing in his or her way, putting a stop to this insanity and this nonsense. She doesn't get a say. This is about real women and women's rights. And the far left, radical left, they want to erase women and women's rights, and I'm not going to let them.
But not everyone in Washington, D.C. is so brave to tell the truth. Speaker Mike Johnson continued the woke rhetoric, refusing to say whether Sarah McBride is a man or a woman.
Mr. Speaker, is freshman-elect Sarah McBride a man or a woman?
Look, I'm not going to get into this. We welcome all new members with open arms who are duly elected representatives of the people. I believe it's a command that we treat all persons with dignity and respect. We will. And I'm not going to engage in silly debates about this. There's a concern about the uses of restroom facilities and locker rooms and all that. This is an issue that Congress has never had to address before. We're going to do that in a deliberate fashion with member consensus on it, and we will accommodate the needs of every single person.
After pushback, the Speaker did finally come out and clarify his position, which was much more in line with common sense.
Hello, everybody. I just want to make a statement for all of you here and be very clear. I was asked a question this morning at the leadership gaggle, and I rejected the premise because the answer is so obvious. For anybody who doesn't know my well-established record on this issue, let me be unequivocally clear. A man is a man, and a woman is a woman, and a man cannot become a woman. That said, I also believe, that's what Scripture teaches, what I just said, but I also believe that we treat everybody with dignity. And so we can do and believe all those things at the same time. And I wanted to make that clear for everybody because there's lots of questions. But that's where I stand. I've stood there my whole life, and those are facts.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene doubled down on this, saying that Nancy Mace's resolution doesn't go far enough.
Sarah McBride, as he calls himself, formerly Tim McBride, is a biological man, and he should not be using any of our restrooms in the capitals, in our office buildings. But Nancy Mace's resolution doesn't go far enough. A resolution is just a statement by Congress saying that Congress disagrees with something. We need something more binding, and that's what I just brought up at the microphones there in our conference, is I directly asked Speaker Johnson what the men in our leadership are going to do about this, because This has to be stopped. America gave a mandate at this election and said not only are they sick of the open borders, the invasion, the out-of-control inflation, foreign wars, but they're sick of the trans ideology being shoved down our throats, and it's an attack on women and children all over the country. I don't think Nancy Mace's resolution does enough. I think we need to do more. That's what I asked Speaker Johnson, and he committed to me in there in the conference that that Sarah McBride will not be using our restrooms.
Sarah McBride hit back at the controversy, saying Republicans are using the trans issue as a distraction.
Look, this is a weird and bizarre obsession with trans people on the part of the Republican Party. And I agree with Republican governors who, when presented with the spate of anti-LGBTQ bills passed in state legislatures across the country, said these are solutions in search of a problem. And that's what we have to be crystal clear about moving forward. Because whenever you see a politician or a political party focus in on an issue that impacts a handful of people in a handful of places, you have to ask yourself why. And the answer to that is they are trying to distract. They are trying to distract from what they are actually doing.
But online commentators have slammed the woke ideology that allows biological men to use women's spaces. This commentator said, Sarah McBride is a man who wants to be in women's bathrooms. Representative Nancy Mace is standing up for women. Men do not belong in women's spaces and sports. The entitlement of these dudes is insane. But not everyone agrees. This Democrat said Sarah McBride is the first transgender member of Congress. In response to her election, Republican Nancy Mace introduced a bill targeting her and what bathroom she uses. It's straight up bigotry and bullying. I support Representative-elect McBride, and I hope you